put that in as a clip at the end.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the Salty Runback. I'm your host, Ryan Wade. Today on the Salty Runback, we have the same people we always have. Justin is here. Pretzel Man Udir Rework, top over here somewhere, is here as well. And the sexiest man to ever make you question whether you should have been a brass player or not, Josh.
Right. All right. Okay. I'm going to take that as I'm taking that as our intro.
Play clarinet.
Oh wait, I'll do the theme music. All right, here we go.
All right, so that was our intro for the week. So as always, here are the updates on the standing. Shenanigans currently sits undefeated, 4-0. Top Lane Wonder sitting at 3-1. Brahms Only Fan account sitting at 2-1-1. Flank F5. I'm not saying our full name. 2-1-1. Dogwater Gaming is 2-2. The Lost Chapter is 1-2-1. Team Silver Mechanics 1-2-1. Dinner Roll 1-2-1. Little John's Big Peters finally on the board 1-3. And Boom One Up also on the board with a tie, 0-3-1 for the weeks. So we had some spicy events this last week. If you missed out on the VODs, be sure that you go back and take a look at things. There's a lot to learn from this week. There's a lot of our bottom letter teams adapting new things into their play styles and their comps. That's apparently working out. So let's start off with our predictions from the previous week, and that it was a 4-way tie. Justin, am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, it was a 4-way tie. Let me pull that up. It was actually crazy. So everybody got F5 versus Boom wrong. Same thing with Little John Big Peters versus TLW. And then Ryan ended up getting the Bofa versus Roll right. That was a 1-1. And DWG versus TLC 2-0. Josh got Shenanigans and TSM as well as DWG versus TLC. Both of those right. I got Bofa versus Roll 1-1. DWG versus TLC. No, sorry. Shenanigans versus TSM. Those are my two. And then Jacob got Bofa versus Roll as a 1-1. And then Shenanigans versus TSM 2-0. So we all got 2 right, which means it's a 4-way tie. Kind of crazy.
So if you're keeping track at home on which of us is, leading in predictions, which none of you probably are, it's more just fun for us. We're all getting a point this week, but that puts Justin still at the lead at 2 points to everybody else's 1. So continuing on with our stuff from week 4, Ryan, you were watching Budnificent last week. How'd he do?
Yeah, Buddy did great. So Buddy, I'm finding a trend with the players that I like to watch in PMALCS, and they are the players that are not necessarily the carries for their teams, the X factors, but the guys who, if they don't do their job, their teams are going to really pay. My player to watch this week falls into that category as well. But Buddy did great last week. Buddy was I think he was 1-1-12 in his first game on Jarvan. Did an excellent job facilitating. Second game was a little more rough. A little bit of a sprinter, a little bit of 10 deaths. Could have joined the Kenyan track team with that performance, but he was able to pull together. Was influential. Was in a lot of fights, and ultimately helped DWG get the 2-0 over TLC this week. So good on Buddy.
Hell yeah. Who is next on our list there, if you got the doc pulled up?
I think I am.
I am.
Or Josh? Josh,
oh, wait.
Are you watching?
Are we going? Wait, are we going? Which order are we going in?
We're just going down the line there, so it's going to be you and then Justin.
Okay, cool. That's what I thought. Yeah, so I was my player to watch this week, rather selfishly. I think I played really freaking good. And if a 1-0-17 and a 5-0-14 score line for both games doesn't show that, Game 1 was kind of a blowout overall. Bear got really fed, but we were able to really, we did a little bit of a lane swap situation this week with sending Cole, sending Klug, Streiser to the bot lane, and sending Bear to the mid lane. And me and Cole played a Seraphine Senna lane, which is not a normal character for my pool. But we really prevented the bot lane of Hodor Nation and Labby from doing anything through the whole game. We really shut them down. Game 1, Bear played really well. We played really good too. The second game, I think I was able to keep us in the game for a lot of it. We got pretty far down behind it. The beginning of the game, mid game, I think we were behind like 5. We were behind like somewhere between 4 and 6K at the worst point. But we knew we were scaling. So we just needed to like play slow, and we played a little more patiently. And then Sona getting items, I had a fully stacked Mejai's. So I was able to provide a lot of support to my team, just sitting in the back line because they didn't really have any dive to be able to get on to me with their comp. So good game by us, I think. TLC put up a good match, especially in the second game, but I think we demonstrated that we are a team to be reckoned with, which we did not show the 2 weeks before.
Hell yeah. Justin, you were literally watching somebody this week.
I was literally watching Nate. You were correct. And he played well. He literally went 8-0 and 11 game 1 and 4-4 and 5 game 2. It was a 1-1 for them. He looked really, really solid game 1. I'm blanking on who played Xerath. He played Xerath game 1. Looked really, really good in it. And then Sintra game 2. But yeah, like I said, really, really good player, putting out some damage numbers in the mid lane. I think he's a force to be reckoned with in the mid lane. I know he wants to compete with a lot of those heavily stacked mid laners that we have in the league. So, yeah,
right.
That's what I have. He looked good.
My player to watch this week was our recently ascended Lord and Savior, Riot Gerg 7. And Riot Gerg 7 had a mixed week. He had a very good game on Terra, going 1-1 and 12. Paired with a looks like a Sivan Tristana, so rather a Murphy Rode Ashe, but a Sivan Tristana in mid. So there was a lot to build off of in terms of just hard CC synergy out of their comp. In their next game, a little troll. It looks like Fred got his infamous Diego in his hand and reminded everybody why you should ban that from him. And
But did he get a cupcake?
I don't know if he got a cupcake this week. There doesn't look to be a Caitlyn in the mix, so no cupcakes. But in this game, Riot Gerg 7 went 1-6 and 5, so a little bit of a topsy-turvy kind of week for Gerg, but, you know, we all know Greg. He's going to have a wonderful bounce-back week, more than likely in his next series that he has, and he's just a solid player overall, so not really deterred by anything as far as his capabilities going forward. Just kind of a meh week for Greg. But my predictions for week 5 is that Ryan's gonna go all the way home with his newfound relationship.
Yeah, do I get a 2-0 in chat? Can I get some 2-0s in chat for my relationship status?
We're gonna give Ryan a 2-0, but jumping into our week 5 predictions, I'm gonna start us off because I have a really spicy take for this. So starting off, I'll leave that one for last. I've got Bofa versus Boom as a 1-1. Boom naturally did a 1-1 with us this last week. I think there is a little bit of potential sparking in Boom. What up? We know Grant, aka Mammoth, is kind of playing a little salty. He's figuring things out with his team, has maybe discovered where he needs to be on the map in relation to everybody else, so that when he gets Eggboy and El Shaka back, who were absent this last week, they might be able to pull something together that just really starts to click. So full props to that, but I think both is a good team, so I think they're going to take a game as well. I've got TLW versus Roll being a 2-0 in favor of TLW. I think they're just kind of the better team. But I've said it week after week after week as Fred gets mad at me for giving his team 1-1s. I'm never going to dismiss Fred and Justin. I think they have the potential to 1-1 any team, depending on how they're playing on any given week. I've got TSM versus DWG. This one I'm giving a 2-0 for TSM. Not really much to take there. I think this can kind of go all over the place as well. I'm just going to kind of give it a personal preference over to Team Silver Mechanics and Josh. I'm sorry.
I realized you wrote this until just now.
Smile for Tambo.
Smile
Pop
for Tambo.
off, I guess.
I've got TLC versus Little John Big Peters as a 1-1 because they are our other team that was currently winless for the split that showed up and did a 2-0, correct? So they had a
2-0.
Yeah, 2-0 week. So something has been established there, and I think that they can keep building off of what they discovered. But my hot take for the week. All right, so I said
about your own fucking game.
It's about my own fucking team, yes. And I said that if I did not meet my prediction last week, that I'm never predicting a 2-0 for my team. And I'm not predicting a 2-0. I'm predicting a 1-1 because I want you guys to take a look at shenanigans, and I want you to look through weeks 1 through 4. Who have they played? They have played Little John Big Peters. They have played Dinner Roll. They have played Boom What Up. And they have played Team Silver Mechanics. And this week they're going to be playing me. So
that's your game to watch.
Yeah. So if you look through all of the people that they have played through the first 4 weeks of the season, they have played the 10th, the 9th, and the tied for 6th teams. The best team on record that they have faced up until the adjustments for this week was Team Silver Mechanics. They're the Broncos in the NFL right now. They have beaten the last place division people and out of everybody. They're sitting at 3-0. They're feeling good. Matt's over here thinking he's Teddy Bridgewater. He's like, I'm a 3-0 starting quarterback in the NFL. Boy, you've been playing garbage time. I'm not predicting us a 2-0 because I'm not going to be confident in myself anymore. But I am saying that we take a game off of these guys because Matt is a really good player, and I think I've got a pretty solid draft strategy despite us losing a ban for Frank screwing up our window meets. Like, I think I have a pretty good draft plan going into this. So I think we take a game off of Shenanigans this week, and depending on how we're all feeling in, you might see a 2-0 for either side, but I'm saying it's a 1-1 just to be safe on the week. I don't think Shenanigans is as solid as we've been giving them credit for after looking at how they've played. They're looking at the people that they've played, and I think that there is something to exploit on this team that is currently sitting at 4-0 on the season. That's my hot take. You're all just
my turn.
Your turn, John.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with my game to watch because it's the same as Jake's game to watch. The Shenanigans versus F5 game. Jake brought it up at the beginning before we started recording today that Shenanigans have played, like, for all but intents and purposes, the 4 lowest placed teams, with TLC being tied with 2 of them. And I think that they've been really riding off of the carry of Maye being one of the best players in the league, hands down. And we've seen some games, if you look at their stats, where, like, they won just off the hands of Maye. And I think against a team that has multiple players in multiple roles that have the potential to carry/facilitate a carry like F5 does, especially it's one of the better junglers in the league, and Fudgy being their jungler. I think if there's a team up to this point that is able to take a game, that is honestly able to take a game off of Shenanigans, F5 is the team to do it. I don't think they win a 2-0 this week. I think what I think is going to happen is I think Maye is going to turn into Maye, or Maye is going to turn into Maye. Maye is the bad one. He's going to play as Maye in game 2, and I think F5 is going to, like, be kicking himself in the butt from a disappointing game 1 and say, you know what, we have all 3 bans now. We're gonna just ban whatever Maye just played, and we're gonna take this one, and then we're gonna see a jungle carry from Fudgy. I'm gonna even go that far. That game 2 jungle carry from Fudgy, with Jake and Frank playing something more supportive, and still facilitating that carry from Fudgy. For the rest of my matches, I also have a 1-1 Bofa versus Boom. I think Boom really showed up this past week, and I think now they have a little bit of a fire under their ass to keep maintaining that momentum. I think having El Shaka and Coach Eggboy back on the Rift as well, and Eggboy needing to prove himself still in the season after having a really good combine but not having the best season so far, is really going to have a fire under his ass to show up. I see a 1-1 happening for that. For TLW versus Roll 2-0, again, Chase is a hard person to bet against. They dropped 2 games to Little John Big Peters, but everyone stumbles sometimes. And I think Roll still needs to figure out what their carry is. I think they have a lot of facilitating on their team, but not a lot of carrying on their team. And I think they need to figure out the carrying a little bit. Sorry, Justin, love you. I think DWG 2-0's TSM this week. We have a really good game plan set up, which obviously I'm not going to talk about here. But I think with this adapted lane situation, I think that we have more carry potential for more parts of the map. And I don't think TSM will be the most challenging opponent for us. And then TLC versus Little John Big Peter. I think TLC is going to take it I think Little John Big Peters showed up last week with their 2 over TLW, but I think it was a little fluke on TL. I didn't watch the games fully. I kind of just clicked through it, but I think it was a little bit of a TLW choke as opposed to a Little John Big Peters super carry. Though I could be wrong because I didn't watch the game fully. But I think TLC is going to be able to pull out that one.
All right, who is next on our predictions list? Sorry, I was looking at something.
Snacky.
Justin.
That'll be me. So my game to watch is actually my own against Top Lane Wonders. I think Top Lane Wonders being on the back end of a 0-2, I think their weaknesses were kind of shown last week, and then we played well last week. Like game 1 was winnable. Game 2 was fantastic. We played really, really well. I think we're starting to finally figure out what kind of we want to do as a team. So I'm predicting it as a 1-1. I think TLW is still a really good team. But it should be a really, really good game to watch. I think we're going to come out swinging. I'm just going to go into Bofa versus Boom. So I'm tossing back and forth a 2-0 and a 1-1 for Bofa. It's hard. So our team is kind of scrimming Boom every week. We're just kind of like permanent scrim partners, and it's a great time. They're making waves, and I think they can maybe take a game off of Bofa, but Bofa's a really strong team as well. Obviously, we just got done playing them. And you know what? Fuck it. I'm going 1-1. I think both teams have the capability to take a game off each other. I think that's going to be a really fun game to watch. If I didn't choose my own game as the game to watch, I think that would be mine for this week. Going forward, TSM versus DWG. I have DWG winning 2-0 over TSM. I think Shenanigans do take a 2-0 over F5, despite how confident Jakes feel about taking a game off them. I think they are a very, very strong team. And then TLC versus Lil John Big Peters. I think LJBP has at least somewhat figured out from their 2-0 last week, taking a 2-0 over Top Lane Wonders. I think that's a 1-1.
All right. So Ryan, you're last but not least here, buddy. Give us a little spice.
I'm spicy taking this week. So I'm gonna count on all of you in the Bofa Boom game. I think Bofa gets a 2-0. That is not me being bitter after quitting the coaching position, but that's more just like I think Grant is playing really well at ADC. I think that was a smart swap on their part. I think it allows them to put one of their better players in a position to carry, and it allows their best jungler to be in the jungle. But you're bringing back Egg Boy this week. You're bringing back David in the jungle, and there were issues with top lane in this week's game. It was just not a really great matchup. And if the same thing happens in mid lane, which is what's been consistent for the team to this point, it's going to be really hard for Grant to carry from ADC like he did last week. It's going to depend a lot on David's ability to get into the game. So I think there's still a lot up in the air in terms of how that team works. They had 2 subs last week, and frankly, one of the subs that they had, Nate, has been a top 10 player, through most of the split so far. I think most people would agree he's had a pretty, I don't want to say above average because we all know he can play it, but a pretty good split so far. So I have the 2-0 for both. I think Sivan is likely the best mid laner in the league at the moment, with Bear and bot lane. And
Bear's playing mid now.
Oh, Bear's moved. Well, I still think Sivan's up there, depending on what he's playing, especially with the ADCs, which punish a lot of mid laners, which is not something that we've seen Bear do a lot. Sivan can really punish bad positioning. So I think that's a rough matchup. TLW versus Roll. I have the 2-0 for TLW. I think Roll has got stuff to figure out this week. Namely, it's crazy. Justin and I were talking about this a little earlier about just attention to certain lanes. Like last split, Fred had, I think it was upwards of 80% of his first bloods in bot lane. Fred was involved in like almost every first blood for his team. And that's changed. I think Fred's been less aggressive getting into the lanes. So far this season, I want to see him do that because I think he finds a lot of success when he does that. TSM versus DWG. I have the 0-2 for DWG. There's some inconsistencies going on with TSM in terms of who's playing when, what's available at the time. And some insider trading has me a little concerned about that game. So I'm going to go 0-2 to DWG there. SNG and F5, I have Shenanigans going 2-0. I think F5 has been regressing rather than progressing over the last few weeks. I think the drop, you can complain all you want, but I watched your series last week. I did watch that game. And there were just if there were inconsistencies in the bot lane, and I don't think that is something that you can get away with when Shenanigans is getting the majority of their big dub plays on 4-man TP ganks in the bot. So if that gets figured out, then it could be closer. But
I'm going to interject and say they're playing against the most KDA oriented AD carry. You think I'm gonna die in this bot lane? You insane, brother!
You think I'm blaming you? No. You wanted Spice, so we'll bring up Spice.
God. My man's is not even going to be on the team this week because of Slack.
Yeah, if you're talking about Care Bear's getting subbed out this week for
well, I can go with the info that I have, and against a bot lane that was playing for the first time together this week, there was a little bit of a sprint fest in bot lane that amounted to 14 deaths in bot over the course of a 30-minute game. So I have my reservations going up against a much better team this week that loves to play out of bot lane with the TPs. Jake, remember this. When OPT's in your lane and fucking Wukong ults you into oblivion, remember this conversation, okay?
He can effing try. He can fucking try. I can get your ass down to bot lane and get triple killed. Come on.
Good. I'm just gonna put my gold on OP. My channel points are going to OP in that little fest. And my game of the week is gonna be TLC versus LJVP. I am a little counterculture in the games I like to watch. I like to watch the games that aren't necessarily the best teams in the league, but the teams that have found their footing or have made some progress or taken a step back. And I think TLC took a step back with their performance last week. As I understand it, the second game was a little bit of a throw, and the first game was not close. That team plays a lot like a solo queue game. It's going to pivot into my player of the week, and I'm the first player to watch. So I'll segue right into it once we get off of it. But they need to have a strong side and a weak side, and their bot lane and their top lane are clearly the weak links on this team in comparison. One of them has to step up and do their part. I think it's going to be 1-1. I think Kim Peter's finally going to get his due, and I do think that Hoagie and Kim Peter have an advantage over Labby and Hodor in bot, so they might be able to take advantage of that in one game and really pump the tires on TLC for one game until TLC adjusts and figures out what they've got to do to beat it. That pivots me. Oh my god, it's fucking pasta bird. Fuck. Okay, Quadratic is my player to watch this week. The reason why I say that is I think that Quadratic, when he is on his game, is a really formidable top lane opponent, and the champs that he plays are really, really useful for when you get out of laning phase, which is what I think TLC dominates. I think TLC has a really, really strong laning phase. Bot knows how to sit back. It's what they're doing in team fights. It's problematic. I think their mid lane, Corrin is going to win most matchups that he plays in mid. He's an incredible mid laner, and Adam is going to gank every lane until high hell, looking for all the gold that he can possibly sniff up on the map. But what they do after that is problematic. If Evan can get comfortable on those champions, I think he's the difference maker for this team. I said it earlier when I was talking about Buddy. It's not about the good players. Every team has good players, right? Maybe one or two, but every team has good players. And so it's not about those people. It's about the people underneath them that are the supporting cast or that need to do something else to create a difference between those two teams. And I think that Evan, week to week, can take advantage of a really, really soft top lane pool. The roster in top lane is not as strong as it is in other lanes. And if he plays that appropriately and plays with confidence, he could be a really, really formidable opponent. I mean, like, his Swain mid-game is just disgusting. I saw you play Alawi last week. Like, those are the champs that you can get out of Evan, and it's just a nightmare to deal with as games go on. So, Evan's my player to watch, Quadratic.
All right, Josh, who you got?
I picked a player from the F5.
Wait a minute, we picked for everybody from this game, didn't we?
No.
Or no, never mind. I'm looking at something wrong. You and Justin picked the same, and then me and Ryan picked the same. That's what happened.
No.
Yeah.
Me and Justin?
Yeah, like so you and Justin have picked players from the same
Oh, yeah.
And then me
Sorry,
and Ryan
I
have picked players from the
forgot
same
what
game.
team. I forgot off the top of my head what team Justin's player was on. Try to watch this. So yeah, okay, so that's funny. So I picked Bees R Us as my player to watch this week. I talked about the F5 shenanigans game a bunch already, with it being my game to watch. So all that information repeated is true. I think if Shenanigans wants to be successful this week, they're going to have to see some really strong gameplay coming out of their bot lane, out of Bees R Us and Nature Dan in that ADC support role. And I think a lot of that is to do with the fact that, not to toot Flirtea's horn too much with him right here, but I think a lot of the strength of this F5 team comes out of their bot lane and comes out of Flirtea's carry potential and gameplay potential, and the potential to adapt his picks to whatever his team needs to be, whether it's a more supportive ADC like the Ashe, or if he needs to play a super high, or he needs to play more of a damage carry kind of ADC. We do acute him. He played Caitlyn yesterday, and it went well. So we know Jake can play those damage carries too. So I think a lot of pressure is going to be riding on Bees to be able to stand up and be successful in that lane and neutralize Jake's impact on the game as much as he can, so that Maye has a better time just to free roam around the map and get himself and get the rest of his team ahead too.
All right. Justin, who are you watching?
I'm going to take a piggyback off of Josh's player to watch, and I actually have the opposite half of the lane. So mine's on Nature Dan. My he's been working. I think a lot of people have been sleeping on him since the start. I mean, obviously being last pick, you don't like to see it, but he just hit Silver 4. Big moves. I've been really impressed with his play so far in the support role, and obviously, same point as Josh, going into F5. He's going to have to, use that stuff that he's learned throughout the season, throughout the split, and throughout, I guess, his career as a support to really take it to F5. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great test for him.
And Dan did also say at the very beginning of the season, after being last pick, that he was going to make everyone that counted and doubted against him rue the day that they did. So,
all right, getting back to our players to watch. I've got my last one.
Why are we here?
Yeah, getting back to our players to watch. Here's my last one for the week. I'm taking the opposite of a pairing that Ryan mentioned earlier, an Evangelist. Adam's one of those players that in any given week we might get Diamond Adam, where he's absolutely insane, has 20 kills, carries the whole game, or we might get a 1-9 Adam that's like, buddy, why are you flashing for Scuttle Crab? To remember a play for last season. It's back and forth, but
Caroline is in her blabber.
I appreciate kind of the mindset that Adam has adopted for this season. I think it's kind of working out as far as his team is concerned, because there were a lot of personality concerns for people on the outside looking in to his team, especially featuring Cornstar in the mid lane with him. We know those guys to be very emotional and very like high go get them kind of players, and the moment that that type of player gets under pressure, things can start getting spitty towards everybody else around them. And it's seemed to be the case that things haven't been getting spitty, because either somebody has decided like, hey, I'm going to, be the personality that relegates back. And, I think that comes in large part from Adam, from the way that I've been talking to him this split, from the short interviews that we had after post games and stuff like that. So full props to Adam for adapting and fitting his team. But, for a little insight of last week, to give the back and forth, there was the 1-9-3 performance on Gwen in his game 1. So that's kind of like the low floor of Adam. And then there was the 9-4-8 on Kane the next game. So like he showed us that he can go back and forward. But, as Ryan said, Quadratic has the ability to kind of dump on any kind of softer top lane that he gets a hold of. And I think if Adam identifies this lane as the softer lane and can really start to snowball himself off of that, he is very good about translating his leads across the map. So I'm gonna give it to Adam as my player to watch in the matchup. So we've got basically 2 games to watch for everybody this week outside of our games to watch previously. But as far as some stuff to keep note of, we are going to have mid-season superlatives coming out. We were going to do them this week, per request of Justin, for a little bit of extra editing time because he's got a Hell Week coming up. We're gonna put those off for a week, so keep an eye out for things like best top laner, best AD carry, things like that. We'll announce all of those. But the things that you guys need to be concerned about is I need to find that document, wherever that is.
They all have spicy cool names after retired players.
Yeah, they have spicy cool names after retired players. Did you make it a sheet or did you make it a document? You made it a sheet.
It's a Google sheet, yeah.
Okay. There we go. Salty Runback awards. So the ones that you guys need to be concerned about, as far as the community voted players, it's the Tyler 1 Memorial Trophy. So this is going to be awarded to the player with the best sportsmanship and most gentlemanly demeanor, according to Ryan, who created this document.
Be a good person.
So, if you're being a good person.
The way I think about it is in hockey, there's a trophy called the Lady Byng, which is awarded to the player, usually a guy who has like the least amount of penalty minutes, but in most cases, it's a guy who like does a lot for his community, is a really good person, is always a gentleman to play with, lovely to talk to. If you're interviewing with casters, it's a great interview. That's what I'm thinking. So people that you are enjoying playing with will be nominated for the Tyler 1 Memorial Trophy.
Yeah, so
it was funny.
Kind of the same thing with like the NFL and their Walter Payton Man of the Year award. So if you're more of an NFL person, like that's awarded to like somebody that's active in their community and the team that they're playing for in the season, yada, yada, yada. They're just good people. So basically we got 4 selections or 4 slots here. So, one player will be crowned the most sportsmanship person, whatever, but we will have 4 mentions in this. So we'll get a poll or something up going, or I'll make a doc and throw that up here soon, and you guys can vote on who do you think the most gentlemanly and sportsmanly person in our league is, and drop that down, and then we'll have we've got overall like MVPs, we've got top lane awards, we've got a jungle award, we got mid, ADC, and support, and then we've got the Ocean Mills Memorial Trophy, which is awarded to the best captain as voted on by the mods. So the mods will be picking their favorite children and throwing them out there. So if you've been a bad captain, start being a good captain and get voted into the Ocean Mills Memorial Award, because it's got our man in there. So you want to be associated with Ocean Everett Mills. Beyond that, I can't think of anything else to really announce and or be concerned about. Ryan?
I got you. So, thank you to all the people that streamed again this week. It was mad helpful. I got to take a weekend off, which was very, very lovely because I had a stressful ass weekend. Cool thing that we were thinking about tossing away. 2 cool things. One of the things we're talking about is possibly doing a pre-recorded game. We're throwing the idea around. Obviously, it would have to be agreed upon by the 2 captains beforehand as a way to take some burden off of us, but also to do some really, really cool production stuff and get a casting team that really knows what's going on and understands the teams. Just let me know what you think about that. Send me a private message. Let me know. It's nothing set in stone yet, and it's no guarantee. But we're just toying with the idea. The other thing I'm toying with is I want to get a list together of brothers who are comfortable having their games streamed on the channel randomly throughout the week, kind of like a tracking the pros thing, except for PMALCS brothers. So if you'd want to put your name on a list for that to possibly happen, it would be a thing where I would notify you that I'm spectating your game, getting your approval, and just going live and streaming on the channel. I think it's a cool way to put more content up on the channel, also get some more brothers involved, keep an eye on how some of the players are playing their games. There's also a lot of flex lobbies going on, and there's a lot of brothers who are playing 5 games. So it'd be cool to get a little bit more content up on the page that way. So let me know if you're interested in that, and I will put you on the list.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And to kind of piggyback on other content ideas, keep posted on another event that's outside of the PMALCS that's going to be aiming to be coming towards the end of next month. I'm in the work on a small tournament that's going to be designed mainly for our brothers that are not participating in the LCS. Naturally, this is going to be filled out more than likely by our guys that are participating in the LCS, because the majority of you are going to be watching this are participating. But if you got a brother that was like, damn, I missed signups this last split because of X, Y, and Z reasons, tell them, hey, we've got something in the works. The admins and other folks are getting together, and they're trying to make something for you guys to enjoy in the midway point. So kind of keep your eyes out for that as we get the rest of that fleshed out. But other than that, Justin, Josh, you got anything?
Nothing. Have a great week, guys.
Yep. All right.
I hope you have a horrible week.
Oh, that's not nice.
That's your mod.
Get out of here, Ryan.
Yeah.
Typical Ryan.
Cut the VOD. Okay. There we go. Ryan's just done.
Huh? I'm
Nothing.
on Snapchat.
I know you're looking at titties. That's okay.
Yeah, something's
Mine.
gotta make me happy because it's certainly not my fucking solo queue game.
Oh, go ahead.
Brief sidebar, because I need the advice of chat here. So chat, drop some advice. Last week I matched with a girl on Tinder. All right, come to find out, she's a League of Legends player. I asked her what her main is, and I just got a response now. She is a singed one trick.
Oh my god!
Is this doomed? Is this doomed from like now on, or should I?
I mean,
No.
I think that confirms that she's toxic.
That's what you want. That is high quality. High quality.
Too much for me to handle. Like, I might not be able to do this shit.
So here's some things. We've confirmed that she's toxic from that alone, because Finch toxic, already. But also, we've confirmed that she's gonna make you chase her. You're gonna have to work for that, buddy.
She's also shown you that she's big and strong. She's just gonna flip you over her head and then ground you down and then pin you down. Ryan, is that what you
And then
want?
make you sticky on top of it all.
Ryan, are you submissive and breedable?
I think I could be, but this week I've decided that I'm an ergot OTP, the only person with a cooler flip than Sink. If she'll flip me, I'll pick her ass up and throw her under my turret.
Oh, good lord.
Say go for it. Worst case scenario, she actually is toxic. Best case scenario, you have a dude partner.
There you go.
I'll update next week. Yeah, 2 top laners dueling together. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, give us an update and then see if you're role swapping to jungle.
Yeah, true. That's how you know I'm simping. I'm going to be a Kindred one trick, just a Kindred and Singe. They're just just being summoners together.
All right, so
It's just like this entire side of my screen is just going through a bi-weekly ego trip. Like,
1 week. Last week was the only week I've talked about my team at all.
so next week, if you say anything about your team, I'm coming back to this. I'll click the VOD. I'll be like, we'll do it. This is my prediction. You know what? Here's my prediction, chat. Next week, Josh is gonna say something spicy about DWG. There you go.
Who do we play next week?
you play Little John Big Peter.
We played Little Drunk Big Peters.
Easy clap. I'm just gonna stay confident.
I don't have to pretend to be ballsy if I already am, motherfucker.
Well,
So throwing that out there for Dan.
all right, Dan.
Put them on blast.
Dan, I'll tell you this.
I'm a big Dan supporter, and I hope Dan knows that.
Me
He
too.
should.
Me too. Actually, fun fact: we went to the same college. We're from the same chapter. I don't know. That's a really fun fact. Yeah, dude, he's a good person. He was at my wedding. All that stuff. I've seen him drunk and puking. It's great. But
Wait, can we do, instead of highlights next week, can all of chat submit their favorite videos of another brother they've met being an alcoholic mess? And we'll just play those on.
dude,
I don't know. Some of my alcoholic videotapes that I have been sworn to secrecy.
Honestly, not to like shade anybody in here, but of all the people in Salty Runbacks I'd love to get drunk with, I think it's Jake. Like, I feel like with Jake, there's like a sleepy man on the inside. Just like as soon as he gets like, as soon as he gets Fireball whiskey in his body, Jake,
Fuck, you know me, shit. I'm a whiskey guy. I drink straight whiskey whenever I'm getting drunk.
I can imagine Jake at a wedding, Fireball whiskey, standing on the table, dancing to Seraphine, like ba ba da.
Oh man. Oh
shit. Now we really have to do that Salty Runback live thing we were talking about, just so that we can do the entire stream like a drunk history, where like
I'd be so down.
Drunk as shit.
Okay, last Salty Runback of the season. Pitch the idea. Chat, tell us you like last Salty Runback of the season. We all get trashed.
Yeah.
And we do the last Salty Runback, the one right before the first week of playoffs. totally trashed.
We've
down for
talked
that.
about is a Salty Runback chat, just so you know, doing a live Salty Runback, maybe not next split, next split at some point. Doing a live Salty Runback, maybe doing it in the Midwest. If there's anybody who would like to host us for a lovely get together, if you have a yard so we can barbecue, do a nice little fiesta get together.
Barbecue?
Let us know. We'll have a fun fucking time. And we'll Salty Runback all over your property.
All right.